Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to use this screen capture to explain who has won the game today. So I will briefly open to you the final dashboard and scroll slowly to the end. And while I'm doing that, I will explain a few things. First of all, I hope that you enjoyed playing the game. It can be rewarding sometimes, it can be frustrating sometimes. I think that's exactly what entrepreneurship does with a person. So you may have experienced the feeling. Thank you all for playing seriously. I think that you spend a lot of time in explaining why you did what you did, and all the important decisions you took. I think the strategies were very thorough and very well formulated, which is why there was also quite heavy competition until the end. So there was no big difference between the teams, and all the teams basically had a huge opportunity to win the game until the end. So I'm going to open the game for you, the screen, and then I will slowly explain some things while I'm doing that. So this is going to be the final dashboard for you. What we can see here, of course, on the right hand side, I always start with explaining the product market fit, which is a very important aspect of the game. I know that some of you had difficulty in, and still some are, in achieving higher product market fits. It was actually pretty simple to get a high product market fit if you'd figure out your value proposition card and then just exactly follow with your investments the value proposition card. So that means if mastery was your number one value proposition card, then you should put 9 points on mastery, 8 points on the second one, 7 points on the third one. Yeah. So that said, you would have had a high product market fit, which is what group 2 and group 5 actually have currently. So it's 100% fit. But it's not the only way to win the game. Yeah, so you can opt to change these product specifications a little bit, and that's what I also explained in the emails that you received throughout the game, in order to receive higher customer reviews. Yeah, so sometimes the value proposition cards that are in the back end of the game are not the best cards that you believe will generate the best product for you. So you may choose to pick different cards, yeah, to pick a different value proposition. Usually that will lower the value proposition, the product market fit a bit, because there is probably no exact fit, but you will probably have a better product. So the customers who you have still a fit with will be more satisfied. So this could be the case, for example, if you look at team number 4, who invested quite heavily in product, in the value proposition in the last round, and had excellent scores on that part. What you can see is that they don't have a 100% product market fit, even it's slightly above 75%, but they have high product reward scores, which will also help you in selling. Yeah, so it's a strategic decision. Yeah. Then, well, you figure this out. The research score, the more you spend on research and the smarter you spend it on research. So if you spend it on going out, talking to the customer, you will get a little bit more points. Also, keep in mind that some of the decisions take a very long time to take place. So if you, for example, start in the first round, you start doing interviews, for example, but you basically have only one day to submit your idea, then normally an interview would not be the best way to go for. But in the end of the game, when you're in an incubator, they could work better. Yeah, so this is one way of thinking about how to invest smartly in research. But you all did, and throughout the game, you figured out all the details you had to know about your team, which was revealed to you as the game progressed. This was a very important part of the game as well. The key resources, basically the left side of the canvas. You figured out how to slowly invest and increase basically the key resource activities and strength of your network in your company by keeping on investing in them. Things like partnering became more important throughout the game. So the heavier you kept on investing in things like open innovation, supply chain integration, stuff like that, will have gained you more points when your company was growing in the end of the game. At the end, you can see there is some teams who will perform better at one skill, other ones that they perform better at the skill. The higher these skills were, the better cards you would have for attaining finance in the end of the game, because as you have seen, it's a very important criteria for investors to look at. If they look at your business, they are looking for experience, they are looking for the right attitude, they are looking for the right skills, yeah, and they are looking for a basic knowledge that you have to know about before they are trusting you to invest in. Yeah, so it was an important aspect of attaining the finance. Then the sales pipeline, which progressed in the last two rounds. So most of the teams managed to bring products to the market. This was very dependent on the product market fit, on the product awards, so the customer reviews, and also of course on the marketing decisions you took. Yeah, so you could spend wisely or less wisely on marketing investments. So you can see that a lot of teams actually, especially team 2, 4, and 5, have progressed severely with their sales funnel already, and attracted quite a lot of customers for their product. Yeah, so the numbers are still quite low because you're still a startup, but in the end it creates some revenue for your product, and the revenue was actually translated to a heartbeat. Yeah. Then one of the most important parts of the last round. I'm going to do this very slowly, slow scrolling, so you won't see the Enterprise score yet. This was how much finance you were able to raise. Especially, you can see that Group 4 attracted a lot of finance, so they invested quite heavily on some of the aspects of the game, on some of the financial options. So they took a bit more risk than probably the others did in that part, which also resulted in the fact that they had less budget to spend on the other decisions, such as product decisions and research and stuff like that. But what I was surprised about, that the money they had left, the credits they had left, they spent very wisely. So that's why they still had quite high scores on all the other aspects, which was quite difficult. Also, Group 2 and Group 5 managed to raise money in the end of the game. What you can see here is IPO as well. IPO means that you're actually entering stock market, which is a way of the game of telling you that you raised quite a lot of venture capital. Yeah, so there is you can see two different colors here, venture capital and IPO, but they are more or less, you can show them as the same, with the same meaning. So Group 4 managed to get quite a lot of venture capital. Yeah, let me briefly go to the. I will skip these awards because they were quite important throughout the game, such as credibility. It would help you build your reputation in the game. Reputation would help increase sales and also increase the likelihood of attaining finance in the end of the game. And some others. Risk was very much the more decisions you took. So the more you spread your budget over different number of decisions, the lower the risk bonus was. Yeah. So if you spend if you go heavily for a few decisions, it would see it as a kind of risky approach. If you spread it more throughout the game, it would be shown as a very as a not so risky approach. Yeah. I'm going to the Entropils because it's going to be exciting now who's going to win, because we saw two teams with a 100% product market fit and heavy sales, and we saw one other team with a lower product market fit but with a high finance raised. The number of finance you raised was actually translated to heartbeats as well. For each dollar of finance you raised, you would receive one heartbeat. So, and then in the back end of the game, there is a thing that we call game plan as well. And a game plan is when you discover, it's a kind of bonus system for when you have a very unique strategy. So in the back end of the game, usually the teams start discovering unique strategies. So they pick a unique combination of decisions basically in the game. and they follow the literature on unique strategies. For example, that was depicted in the book of 10 types of innovation, and it is in the game also translated to some bonus points. None of the groups, I think, managed actually to get game plans throughout the game, but one group at least managed to get a game plan bonus in the last round. So I'm now scrolling down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. This is the final Entropils, and the winner is group number 4, which, as you can see, had 75% product market fit, but won a lot of medals throughout the game and also in the last round, and raised a lot of finance, discovered a game plan in the back end of the game, so had a very unique strategy in the last round, and was one of the only teams next to Team 1 who actually still kept on investing heavily in the value proposition in the last round, which received them quite a lot of awards, which also account for something in the last round. Second place goes to group number 2, who went up to 100% product market fit, combined with good sales and the finance raised throughout the game. And number 3 has become Team 5, Jenks, with the same 100% product market fit and a little bit less finance raised throughout the round. What we can also see here, I'm going to explain this a little bit because it may be unclear to you, is a thing that we call funding risk. And the funding risk actually, it's because when you invest in attaining finance in the last round, it said it would cost you, for example, 50 heartbeats. So, but what the game does in the Entropils is that it actually the team who invested most, which was actually group number 4, yeah, they have 0 heartbeats added to the Entropils because of the decisions they took. And for example, Team 1, which didn't invest a lot in getting external finance, they basically only decided to get personal funding and funding from friends, fools, and family, which they also did not manage to get. So thank you for all the family there. But they get a lot of extra points because they didn't take so much risk in the finance. Yeah, so it was awarded to you basically in the other way around. So the more risk you took, the less points you would get there. But still, group number 4 made it to the winning end. I'm going to thank you very much for playing. You will receive the final report as well through email after I get confirmation that you saw this video, and then you will also receive a certificate which you can use for later reference. Then please enjoy the rest of the semester, and I'm coming back to you in March for another game, the innovation management game, which will be much more heavier, much more frustrating, but also maybe even more rewarding than this one. Okay, I'm going to see you guys back. Thank you very much for playing.